Welcome to the Company of One. Today we're talking about you are not an employee, or you're just not an employee. However you want to word it. This is all about you, your income, and how to make it bigger. Okay. Today, as we lead off, we want to jump into the fact that this is being released on September 11th. This is a good time to think about things and what we're actually doing with our lives, what kind of things we're trying to achieve. Is we might remember, those of us that remember September 11th many years ago, it was a time when people started thinking about what really mattered. Right? COVID was another one of those times. What really matters. Those times are coming again, right? That we see things happen that makes us stop and think, what are we doing? What are we doing with our lives? What are we doing with the work we're doing? How we're serving? Are we intentional? So that's what I want to dive back into today. This entire podcast, the Company of One, this is what this is called. And some people get this confused. So I'm going to stop for just a moment and say, what are we talking about? We're going to talk about this just today. Well, there's two podcasts that I know of that are named Company of One. This one, and I think it's Paul Jarvis who has one or had one, that was talking about how to have a company with just one person, no employees. That's not what we're talking about here. What we're talking about here is you are the company. You're the company of one. And it doesn't matter if you work for somebody else or not. All of us are entrepreneurs. We've always been entrepreneurs. We just didn't know it. And as I work with people who want to start side businesses, I'm constantly trying to remind them, you already have one. You and I, we all already have a business, right? And the business is, in fact, us. So we're going to walk through what that means, why it matters to you, and what can you do to maximize it? Because a lot of us, just let's face it, we kind of feel like we are not in control, and that's where I felt. So I totally understand. I came out of a world I had an entrepreneurial background, right? So even before I got into high school, I was doing customer and business type things. I didn't really realize it. I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. And then in college, while I was in engineering school, did the same thing. And right after college, I did what everybody else did. First of all, I did what everybody else did. I went straight into college because, hey, you're good at math and science. You're kind of interested in this in electrical stuff. So let's do electrical engineering. After college, I came out and I was sitting here thinking, well, what do you do next? Somebody says, come to work for me. I will pay you money. That's great. It all sounded great. And then it wasn't. And it was pretty quick for me. I mean, we have different time zones or time paces when many of us get to feeling like work is not what we thought it was going to be. That was very quick for me. And it was really weird because even as having been an entrepreneur and having had my own business type stuff going on, and even when I was in college, I was involved in multiple startup activities. Suddenly my brain went numb, right? I call this a corporate lobotomy, right? You get inside the big beast and you quit thinking, you quit dreaming. It's almost like you're a machine, a robot. Now, that happened to me very quickly. Some of people that takes years to get to, but I find many of us inside the machine get to that point. Sometimes the machine is of our own making. Actually, every time the machine is of our own making. But we just get busy. We get busy with collecting a paycheck. And we think, okay, I'll break out of this. And I was talking to somebody last night that said, I was thinking about, I need to break away. And now my kids are teenagers, and I'm running 900 miles an hour doing everything else, all the activities. So I'm thinking, well, it will wait till they get to college. And let's be honest, it'll never happen. They're going to stay stuck in this mentality because every time we wait, that's what happens, right? So what I want you to, and you may feel the same way, and you may be feeling, well, Dale's throwing a guilt trip on me. No, I'm just trying to throw reality because I live the same thing. What you wait on is you wait on somebody else to make a move. You wait on somebody to say you're downsized, you're fired, the company's closing, whatever, right? There's all kinds of activities of what you might be told that's going to happen. For me, it was hey, you're fired, we've downsized, it doesn't matter. You've lost your job. I always tell people I was voted off the island because of the way it happened. Best thing that ever happened to me. Best thing, because I would still be there. I would still be in the beast or have retired, whatever, but I would probably still be in the beast and be miserable and be on Prozac and every other drug you have known to man. Because but what happened when I was inside the corporate Fortune 100, even before I left, I started realizing I am a company, right? So all this kind of transitioned at the right time for me, and of course, I got out of the company, got booted from the company about the same time I was catching on to all of this. So what I want to walk through right now is the company of one idea, the key ideas behind the company of one that I hope will help you think through where you are right now if you are an employee, because there's a certain, while we get excited about work and there's certain things that excite us, there's a certain hopelessness in it. There's a certain trap in it. Like, I'm just waiting on the paycheck. I'm waiting on a pay raise. I'm waiting on a promotion. I'm waiting to get hired by somebody else. See, we're always waiting. I have friends of mine that have talked to me for months at a time about waiting as they do interviews and things like that. Just constantly waiting, while life passes you by, hoping for something to happen, hoping for somebody else to make a decision that says something about my future. So let's just talk real quick. Number one, there is a myth of employment security. Right. So I'm talking about the fact that we feel trapped, but part of the reason we feel trapped is because we feel like, even though we read it all the time, we understand it, but ingrained in our brains is what our parents or grandparents or somebody have said is, you go to work for a company, you're going to be good. Or you get a job or a skill set and pick something. For me, it was engineering. Maybe it's software. Maybe it's project management. Whatever it is for you, you get a skill set in something and it's going to be good. So even if you change companies, right, you got a tangible skill. It's going to be good. I have a couple of clients that are medical doctors of different types of medical doctors. And some of them are realizing, even in the medical profession, that's not true. Because a lot of medical doctors are, in fact, employees. Some of them that are clients of mine are independent business owners, but most doctors are employees of a system. And some of them are starting to realize there's no security here. So you think the security is in your job because we've been taught to believe that, or your profession because we've been taught to believe that. And it's a lie. And you know that I'm telling you the truth. You logically, or most people do, but there's very few people that will challenge me on this. But you pretty much know what I'm talking about is true, right? I'm guessing you're kind of nodding your head, and yeah, that's true of me. Is I know my company, something could happen any moment. And for many of us, that's happened before, right? We've experienced it. I also know in my profession, it changes. And it could change drastically. Let's think about project management and software engineering type people. What is AI going to do to you? Do you think you may not be needed? And certainly, I'm going to say, not in the way you have been used. I know I have some friends that run software companies that are very AI focused, and they'll tell me that most software companies are going anti AI. They just don't do it. They keep doing things the way they've been doing, and that works for them today. But even he, there's a very pro AI company that does software, recognizes it's not going to work like we're working with it today, even or tomorrow. We're forward thinking, and we know it's going to run over us. That's because that's just the way it is. It's not because of AI. It's not because of the internet. It's not because of machines. It's just things move fast in our society. Change happens. Culture happens. We have things like 9/11. We have things like COVID, which change instantly how people see things and change the markets and change jobs. And then we have things that happen slowly, although they don't happen very slowly anymore, like technology. But we also have just culture changes that are also subtle that people don't care about things in the way they used to, and they care about other things now. Right? That happen all the time, and things are just gone by the wayside. I have some friends that are working for companies that went all out into the save the world, Green New Deal. I'm using words that probably aren't accurate, but green environment, global warming, and what it means politically. I don't mean the actual geological environmental stuff, but the global warming environmental type stuff, where companies were investing because they had incentives to invest in things that were pro global warming, help the environment kind of things. And some of those incentives are gone today worldwide. And so their business, because their business was about all that, helping companies, become better at environmental controls and things like that, because that incentive is gone, some of their business is gone. And it happened partly through administration changes, but it was more than that. It was a cultural change. People are like, we're sick of this. We're sick of being controlled by this message. And will it go back? Maybe, maybe not. Where will it go? We don't know. But the fact is, we put all of our cards on the table for this one thing, and that thing changed right underneath us, right? And so people who have been told, hey, you have a job. I have friends that were being told, you have a job right after school. It's going to be great. And because this happened, well, they have a hiring freeze, which makes sense from a business point of view. The business is probably sitting there thinking, okay, how do we adjust what we're doing? We're not going to go out of business, but how do we adjust the model that we're serving? This happens. This is happening in your business right now. We all know it. There's the board of directors meeting going on right now talking about your job, not specifically your job probably, but in general, it's going to impact your job, and you don't know it. You're blind to it. We all are, right? We don't know what is about to happen, but somehow we feel safe because we have a title, because we have a job, because we have seniority, because we have all these things, and we could be gone tomorrow. Or maybe it's more subtle than that. Maybe we just get a new boss, we under a new division tomorrow, and suddenly what we thought was a job that was stressful becomes intensely more stressful and less enjoyable. Those things happen all the time, and I know I'm probably talking to you and you're like, yeah, that's happened. I can tell you stories. I get it. We've all experienced that. If you haven't experienced that, you will. Not a question. It's just like going out. Dave Ramsey says it's going to rain. One day it's going to rain, and it's going to rain in this way. This is not bad. This is not that it means that something is evil about the company that you're working for or you're making bad decisions. It just means these things happen. Their business changes. That's what it happens. So that number one, I just want to say the myth of security. There is no security in work, and there shouldn't be. If you think about this logically, if you went out and bought a Ford and that was the last automobile you went out and bought you a Ford, brand new Ford 150 truck, and that was the last automobile you bought, and you're like, hey, it's a great vehicle. Do you really want Ford to think, well, I've got that person now? They're going to buy the next one from me in 2, 3, 4 years, whatever it is. What if you decide next time you want to buy a Chevy or a Tesla or something crazy? What if you don't want to buy in 5 years and you decide you're going to drive this thing till the wheels fall off? You're making these decisions. Ford can't be making the decision that you're always going to pay them. That would be a dumb decision for Ford to make. I mean, we all get that, right? Because we as consumers, as spenders of money, change the decision we're making. So do the people that pay you. It's the same thing, right? When you flip it around, you totally get it. They change their mind. They change what they need. I'm no longer a fit. I'm out. And it could be for all kinds of good reasons or bad reasons. It doesn't matter. It's bad to you because you're out. So this is a myth. We all know it. I just want you to go stare in the mirror and recognize I have no security. Because while we know it's a myth and we tell everybody else a myth, we believe in our head that we're safe. I know, I did. So all right, so number 2, let's flip this around though. Is okay, if that's true, and this is true everywhere in the market, everywhere in the world about everything. People don't keep spending money over and over and over again on the same thing. Number 2, that puts you in control. Now that's the good side, right? You are the CEO. This is where the company of one comes in. Because you bring in money, right? You make money in exchange for a service. That's what businesses do. This is why you are a company of one. And so I'm not playing wordsmithing here. I'm going to get really serious. I have been on this podcast. I have been in everything I teach. I'm dead serious about this. You're a business. You are a business today. We were a business yesterday. You're going to be a business tomorrow. And you've just been lying to yourself that you're an employee. Forget the word employee. Because it means different things. It means entitlement. It means all kinds of things. It's a lie. Companies don't need employees. They need stuff done, right? You are a stuff doer, right? You are a service provider. But because you recognize that, when you start to recognize it, and let me just tell you, I've seen hundreds, maybe thousands of people that get this and it clicks and they're like, wow, I've got power. So I want you to know right now, you have power. This bad news of there's no security is good news. It's great news for you. I can tell you hundreds of people out there like me, like being fired was the best thing that ever happened to me because it woke me up. I was already waking up, but then it was a slap in the face. So it really helped. So I want you to think about this. You're a business. The company you serve right now, I'm going to assume you have a day job, right? The company you serve right now pays you. So when you get a paycheck, probably comes electronically to you now, but when you get paid, it's revenue. Your company revenue, right? You've just sold product and service. And they're probably paying you for last month. So you've sold that product and service. Here comes the payment. You've sent that invoice out, and now here comes the payment. Now, that's revenue. Your skills, the things you did, that's the product, right? That's what you did. That's what you did to bring in the revenue. So that's when we look at the company of one model, we break it up into 4 things. I'm not going to bore us right now talking about that, but there's 4 roles. There's operations, doing the work. There's marketing, communicating how you do the work. Research and finance. Put the other 2 on hold for just a minute. But your reputation now that you have for getting the work done, for showing up, for doing a good job with your current employer, and your reputation that you have out in the marketplace in general, on LinkedIn and wherever you go, is part of your marketing. You're probably not going to do what Walmart does and put up big billboards along the highway or send out flyers in the mail. That's probably not the way me and you are going to do our marketing. But we do a lot on LinkedIn. We do a lot on social media. We do a lot in person. We do a lot by the products we serve. But we do a lot in email. We do a lot in a lot of different ways. We do marketing, and we're not going to pull that all apart right now. But I just want you to understand and go look in the mirror and recognize you are your own chief marketing officer. You are the product, right? What you do and how you serve is the product, I get, as the service. But you as a person, is how that service is delivered. You are the package, if you will. You have a brand. And we already know that. You have a reputation. You have words that people might speak about you when they talk about you. Now, hopefully they're good, but maybe they're not. But that's a brand. So there's your product. Your operations is you doing the job. Your marketing is just who you are and how you're talked about. So now, then you've gotten paid, you've brought in this revenue, and then guess what? You as an individual, your family, are going to pay bills. You're going to buy stuff. You're going to make decisions of what to do with your money. All that is company finances, right? Because you're a company. You are a company. So now you're going to spend it on your mortgage, on your car payment, on your power bill, on all these things to kind of keep the company running, right? Because you need a place to live. You need food to eat. This fuels the company. Now you may make some decisions of what else to spend it on. That $200 dog food or whatever. Because you need a pet, right? You need a mascot for your company, if you will. You're going to make decisions of what you do with your money. And part of what I want you to think about is, we're not going to dive in this now, but this is kind of a Dave Ramsey discussion, right? If you are, would you make these decisions? If you thought of yourself as a company for real, would you invest in a company who made the kind of financial decisions you're making? Are you making financial decisions for your future? Right. So those are the kind of things we're thinking about. But however you're doing it, whether you're thinking, wow, I'm doing a great job here, or I'm doing a terrible job here, or I'm not really clued in on what we're talking about, just to recognize, looking in the mirror, you are the company. You're getting paid for your services. You're spending your money the way your company chooses to do. You have a marketing reputation, a brand reputation. You are already running a business. It's just that most of us don't realize that. We don't realize that we are the CEO. I'll go further. The customer you are serving now, that's the people who pay you, and I don't mean the company like I'm working for Microsoft. I'm talking about Joe Smith, who is my boss, who signs off on me getting paid. That's my customer. You might have more. You have more than one, but we'll just be simple. That's the kind of thing that when you recognize you have control, you as a business get to choose your customers. Within reason, you can't make somebody pay you, but you can choose not to serve that customer and say, you know what, I don't like Joe Smith. I don't like what Microsoft as a brand stands for anymore. I'm going to go do something else and find another customer. That's fine. We all have that power, right? Just like they can fire you today, you can fire them today. You're in control. And there's a million people out there, a million different customers out there will pay for your services. Now, you've got to figure out who they are. And that becomes a job finding process. But even that's a messed up process because everybody is looking for a job. You're looking for customers, right, when you're doing that. So when you start flipping this game and start recognizing you are already a business, start acting like a business. Quit acting like an employee who's waiting around for things, who's going to Indeed.com, waiting for somebody to call you, looking for a job, who's waiting for the promotion, the pay raise. Take control. Now, you can't make your customers do things, but you can have more influence than you're probably having now. When you're the CEO, you have a lot of control and a lot of decision power. And most of us are not taking it. And it's not that the company, and it's not that, Microsoft doesn't want me to take this. That's not it. They actually want me. They want me to think more clearly about how to serve them better so I make more money. Because guess what? If Microsoft is paying me more money, they're getting me more value from me. It's a win-win. This is not us against them like I always thought it was. It's everybody looking out for themselves and looking for where there's great synergy. Because when I enjoy the work I am doing, I am better at the work I am doing. And when they enjoy working with me, it's just going to really good. Everybody wins. Everybody makes money. Everybody, because the money is the easy part. So you being in control is what they're waiting on. And it's what you're waiting on. Take control today. Now, you may not know how. You may not know all the details. We talk about that in my book, Resumes Are Worthless. I'll put a link down below to that. That's not the point. If that's helpful to you, I got all these episodes here. If that's helpful to you, I want you in control. I'm just here to serve. All right? I want you in control because it's a lot more fun to work with people who are in control. Even if I'm not paying them or they're not paying me, with the synergy, it's a lot of energy around people being in control. Okay. So, all right. So number one, it's a myth. Number two, the job security is a myth. Number two, you are the CEO. So number three, why this changes everything. I've talked about this a little bit, but when you think like an employee, you are waiting to be told what to do. Everybody hates that. Have you ever hired somebody to do something and they go do a little bit and they come back and say, what do you want me to do next? They go do that. Like, what do you want me to do next? And you're like, I hired you to fix the plumbing. And that means when you come here, find what's wrong, go away. I don't want to micromanage you, right? None of us want that. And a lot of us live that way in our day job. That's not what they want. And if you work for a micromanager, you probably are miserable. You need to find a way out because most people don't like working for a micromanager, and most of us don't like to micromanage. It's a miserable experience both ways. So when you think like a business owner, though, you're starting to make decisions that are the best for you and the best for your customer, because when you make the decisions best for your customer, it tends out to bring more money and it's better for marketing. It's just a win, right? I'm really thinking for number one, maybe that's me, but when I think about number one, truly, it serves both of us when I look at this correctly. This mindset separates you. It's a game changer. It separates you from all those people who feel stuck. And you want to know who feels stuck in your corporation? Just look around. Look up. Your boss feels stuck. Trust me, I know corporate officers who are making 7 figures who feel stuck because they're thinking, I don't do much of anything, if I'm really honest. Who's going to pay me this kind of money to do what I do? Not many people. There's not many jobs at that level. They feel stuck. Many of them want to quit. Many of them want to go home. Trust me, some of them have been my clients. They are not happy. They're wanting to find a way out. And there's several paths to that. So this is the mindset. Now, let's think about the next steps here. This is really what I want you to think about is you're the company of one. Is what I want you to think about, though, is some next steps, because most people I work with are looking for how to diversify their income. So they may like working for Microsoft or whoever they're working for and say, well, it's a pretty good gig. I enjoy serving my customers. It's a good relationship we have. Even when I look at it this way, it's even better. It's better, right? Because I realize I'm thinking differently and they start communicating differently. And trust me, that does happen. When you start to think differently and you start to ask questions differently, your relationship to your employer, your boss, however you want to call them, changes for the good. But most of us want to diversify, right? We want some side income, whether it be passive income. I hate that word, but we'll call it that because you know what I mean. We want to freelance. We want to do some consulting. I mean, I don't mean conflicts of interest with your current employer, but things that just naturally fit into what you're doing. Uh, but so many of you are there and you're like, I'm looking for a path out or I'm looking for an alternative because here's where you are. And we're going to talk about this next week. Next week, we'll talk about how expensive is your paycheck. Not how big is it, but how expensive is it? How much is that costing you? Because right now, most of us in the world have one customer, the person who pays us to do our job. That's a very dangerous position to be in. Very dangerous. No business in their right mind would serve one customer. Very dangerous proposition. I don't have time to talk about that right now, but you can kind of imagine. Because when the one business gets tired of you, makes a decision, suddenly you go from great income to zip overnight. So many people are looking for ideas. So next week we'll be talking about your paycheck, but go down below. I will have a link to the. Let me put a. I have to put a note here about what we're having a link to because I'm going to make promises and then I'm going to forget that what we're supposed to be putting down. We are going to. There's a link down to or you can just go to dalecallahan.com/idea. If you're saying, I want to come up with an idea to spin out a business on the side while I have a day job, or maybe something that's going to grow into my day job and I can walk out of what I'm doing, go to dalecallahan.com/idea. You get a free template. It's essentially 7 questions. It's a 20-minute exercise to help you come up and flesh out some ideas. Now, I'm going to be, for those of you that do that, I'm going to offer, we're going to get on a call and kind of help you take the next step. Or if you've already done it, I'll be sending you an email about that, the idea, and how to take the next step with that. Because, I mean, it sounds silly, but that's a hard part for most of us. Most of us work for large corporations. Or decent-sized corporations, and coming up with the idea that we need to spin off is harder than it sounds. We may have a lot of ideas in our head, but getting from there to fleshing them out is a different animal. It's not super hard. It's just not the way we're kind of been thinking in the corporate world. And the second thing about that is many of us overcomplicate things. Actually, most of us do. I do. So I can look in the mirror and recognize that. I was just on a phone call with a client the other day, and he and I were laughing about how much we overcomplicate things. And better yet, his wife was on the call with us, and she recognized both of us were way overcomplicated. And it's silly. I mean, it was she was seeing the comedy in it, but it's also very frustrating because we make the simplest thing complicated. And that's true so often when we're coming out of a big company. What it takes to get a company started or a side business started is a lot less than we think. And we tend to overcomplicate it. So I want to help you not do that, or at least help you walk through toning that down, if we will. So, all right. So we'll be talking about that. But go down to dalecallahan.com/idea, and you'll get to that idea generator idea. Get to the idea generator tool. Again, it's a 20-minute activity. It's easy to do. Grab coffee, grab a Coke, just sit down and walk through it. It's not a super complicated thing, but it gets you thinking because it's not complicated. It's just different. That's all it is. So also I want to ask, if you are watching this, on YouTube or something, hit subscribe. If you're listening on podcasts, subscribe, give us a like, thumbs up, whatever it takes, because we're trying to reach more people now and trying to help people. Look, I want to help people get started and get control of their income more than ever. I'm watching what's going on, and I'm seeing we're heading to another point of desperation. And I don't mean in the economy. I mean individually. While the economy is going to do great things, individually we're going to have some tough choices to make because of the move and the speed of things happening. And no, it's not just about AI. That's just a part of it that's going on. But we'll get to some points where we'll start seeing a lot of things slowly begin to collapse. And we don't care about the big collapse. All we care about is the one that says, Dell, we no longer need you. Thank you. Here's your last paycheck. So, all right, so you are not an employee. You are already running a business. I hope you recognize that. You are already running a business. And I want you as a business owner to start taking control today. To start taking control. Next episode, next time, we'll go deeper in this with how expensive is your paycheck. See you next time.